Of a mockery of a sham, as Woody Allen once said.
It shows how troubled television is.
But I want to ask you a serious question. Last night, I know you watch Factor every night, so you can steal material.
Oh, my gosh.
And I said that economically, we can bring the country back, but you have to do some discipline. You have to freeze spending.
Yep.
You have to have a national sales tax, 2%. What did you think about that?
I made some notes.
Excellent.
I actually agree with you, except I believe it should be a VAT tax, 2% VAT.
Value-added tax.
No more than 2%.
What's the difference between a sales tax and a value-added tax?
Value-added tax goes through, or value-added tax goes through absolutely everything. So it hits 2% on every piece. You make a car, somebody's making the radio, 2%. Somebody's making the... So it hits...
So corporations pay too.
All the way along the line.
Now, they propose this like it's going to get us out of debt to the banks. And, oh, yeah, we'll cut spending. Notice, and they don't even say get rid of the income tax. They have a lot of neocons push, oh, let's get value-added and sales tax and then get rid of the income tax. No, you're going to have it all. And, I mean, that's just something we found during the break. We could go on and on and on and on. I could play you, pull up Glenn Beck neocon, not libertarian. It's like a 4-minute clip, and it's pretty early in where Glenn Beck says that the banker bailout isn't big enough. Or just go to YouTube and type in Glenn Beck supports banker bailout. I mean, on and on and on and on. He said the MIAC and Homeland Security reports weren't that bad, might be reasonable, that veterans, gun owners, conservatives, libertarians are the #1 threat internally to Homeland Security, and that's what it's really set up for. Look, I can't spend all day on this, and I got a bunch of other news I got to cover, okay? But I could sit, in fact, I'm going to do it. In the next week, I'll collate a whole bunch of these horrid clips, and I'll do 2 hours on TV, simulcast with the radio, and I'll do it all for you. Him calling for global warming taxes, saying global warming's real, him saying the Patriot Act's good, demonizing Ron Paul, calling for all these new taxes, supporting it all, the banker bailout, everything, okay? I'll show you him being nice to Glenn Beck on a show, Glenn Beck being nice to Ron Paul on a show, then stabbing him in the back later. Okay, I'll show it to you. I mean, if you won't go out and look it up for yourself. I don't know what show you're watching. Last week, he put Deborah Medina up next to Van Jones and said, these people hate America. Deborah Medina doesn't get any better than her. I mean, I don't know what show you're watching. Okay. 1 minute a caller because I've got to get to this Gordon Brown situation. Let's go to Herman in New York. Go ahead.
Yes, hello, Alex. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, 2 quick questions. An objection I always get from my friends and family is that they always look at everything not in the left-right paradigm, but more of the black and white paradigm. So anytime I talk about the founding fathers, how great they are, how patriotic they were, and trailblazing they were, they always say, well, I don't listen to any white person. I don't care. I'm pro-Obama. He's black, et cetera, et cetera. That's my first comment.
Let me answer that quickly and simply. The founders were in the time they were in 230, 240 years ago. The real war going on 240-plus years ago. They weren't perfect, but the ideas that were put on paper led to all the freedom we've seen. And slavery's still going on in Africa in many areas and in Asia. And we're now debt slaves to another system. Certainly they weren't perfect, and a lot of them fought with each other. Some were against slavery, some were for it. The point is, it's those ideas of God-given rights, that our rights don't come from a government. And they need to understand Obama took the restrictions off and doubled the funding for forced abortions in China and Africa and infanticide, and that more black babies are being aborted than are being born. Now, they may put a sweet coating on that, and Obama may be 6% African. 6%, folks. 44% Arab, half white. It doesn't matter. It's a stunt, like Sarah Palin for president, because she's a woman, is a stunt. Give me a black guy, give me a white guy, give me a white woman, a black woman, a brown woman. If they're a constitutionalist, I'm for them. You know, Deborah Medina's got Spanish last name. I could care less. Give me a green person if they give me freedom, if they leave me alone. Now, what's your second question?
Yes. Do you know if the economist John Maynard Keynes has any affiliation with the Rothschild, the Rockefellers? He's an economist that believes, government spending can get you out of a recession.
Yeah, no, he was funded by the British and the U.S., total globalist, wanted world government. Yes, publicly.
Okay. And my last comment is, I believe that we are making progress. I think that, we are making movements, but one thing that I'm a little bit apprehensive about is that nobody's going to jail. I mean, even last week, Rothschild was on CNBC. Geithner was investigated, but he's not going to jail. He's not in handcuffs. And
I know, and we have to keep pointing that out. Look, I'm out of time, so we spent 3 minutes with that caller. And it's great questions. I want to try to get to everybody else. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and cover Gordon Brown now, okay? Because I said I'd do this today, and I'm getting to where I'm trying to make myself cover things I say I'm going to cover. Before I do that, two of the sponsors that made today's radio show possible. One of them is EcoloBlue.com, atmospheric water generators. They grab water out of the air. One unit has 7 filters. Another has 12 filters that it goes through, reverse osmosis, you name it. And all EcoloBlue units, all their products, from one that gives you 7 gallons a day to one that gives you 500 gallons a day, 10% off, ladies and gentlemen. 10% off, and today is the last day on the website. Product code Alex Jones to get the 10% off, or when you call them, tell them Alex Jones. 800-691-6043, 800-691-6043, or ECOLOBLUE.com. And one last sponsor, FrontSight.com, like the front of your rifle sight, FrontSight.com. The millionaire patriot, Dr. Ignatius Piazza, the best preeminent for the general public, no drill instructor, tough guy attitude, 5 days of firearms training for you and your family, 5 days of world-class gun training at the Firearms Training Center. A lot of great stuff on their site as well. A 30-state concealed weapons permit, all for pennies on the dollar. It's very inexpensive. Plus, if you act fast, the Millionaire Patriot will give you a Springfield Armory XT pistol and the caliber of your choice. That's FrontSight.com. FrontSight.com. Excellent, folks. It's one thing to own firearms. It's a whole other thing to know how to use them. FrontSight.com. Okay. Let's play Herman von Rompuy from 3 months ago before the Copenhagen summit, saying this was going to be the birth of the New World Order and their global regulatory system. Here is Herman von Rompuy first.
In and between our countries, 2009 is also the first year of global governance, with the establishment of the G20 in the middle of the financial crisis. The climate conference in Copenhagen is another step towards the global management of our planet. Our mission, our presidency, is one of hope, supported by acts and by deeds.
Okay, and of course, Ban Ki-moon was in the New York Times, an article titled "We Can Do It," saying the birth of world government is here, global governance, all there. Gordon Brown, Al Gore, countless speeches, Tim Geithner. You ought to see Bermas's film. It's full of them, Invisible Empire. Coming out April 15th is the official. We're taking our time making it. It's coming out then. The point is that they had this secret meeting 2 weeks ago in Australia where the leaders of the private 24 central banks and monetary authorities, including U.S. Federal Reserve and European central banks, landed in Sydney to meet tomorrow at a secret location. So they make their decisions at these Bilderberg Group type meetings. Bilderberg's just one of the preeminent meetings, where Obama met secretly in 2008 with Hillary. And that's now been admitted. And that's in my film, The Obama Deception. And in this video clip, listen to what he openly says about how they're creating a global constitution written by the banks. See, they don't care that they couldn't get people to sign the treaty at Copenhagen. To huge taxes on the third world, first world, it'll kill hundreds of millions of people every few years. There's already 15 million kids starving to death each year, another 20 million adults. It'll at least double that each year. You're talking about 100 million in just 4 or 5 years. Extra that'll be dying. This is so huge. And they admit, here's Bill Gates. Bill Gates calls for population reduction in a speech. We have the video. We'd play it if we had time. It's up on Infowars.com. They want a planetary regime, as the head climatologist at NASA has said, as Bill Gates has said, as the White House science czar, John P. Holdren, has said in Ecoscience. Like, where is that? It's right over here. They have pushed all this. In fact, it's got a big stack of stuff on it. Get my lunch off of it, but I'll just show you right now. Here it is. Ecoscience, calling for all of this. This is their real agenda. When they tell you they want to give you jobs and energy, they want to shut down your industry. And they know every green job costs 2 jobs. They know that. They know that, but it brings control. Now, here is Gordon Brown. I'm going to be stopping it and commenting as he talks about this because they couldn't pass their greenhouse gas takeover. And so they're saying we're going to have the bureaucracies through executive orders all over Europe and the U.S. and England and Australia and Canada, New Zealand. And we're going to tell the third world, if you want your IMF World Bank money, you've got to do this, or we're going to shut off your food and water that the globalists now have gotten control of through debt. And here he is saying we're just going to set up a global government, a new world order of the banks. Here it is.